Hi, everybody. Welcome to week 1 of your 12 weeks LBS 803 class. As Barb and I mentioned in the first video, this is a course that's broken up into 2 parts. The first part, weeks 1 through 6, taught by me, and we're covering children's literature for kindergarten through 6th grade. Now, the thing is, there is so much literature that covers that time period. There's no way we're going to be able to cover everything. I really want you to just get a breadth of experience for the formats that we're going to be looking at. The course itself, that just our section, could be its own class. I mean, we could spend an entire 15-week semester just talking about children's literature and still not hit everything. I do want you to be focusing on literature published in the last 20 years. I know we all have lots of favorites, classics, and things that we grew up as children, and those are definitely ones that you want to introduce to your students and to your family. But for this course, we are going to focus on contemporary titles published in the last 2 decades, because if you really think about it, all of those, even if it was a book that's published 20 years ago, it's going to be older than the students that you have in your school. So we want to focus on things that are published now for kids today. So I want you to read widely, stretch yourself. If you are usually a fan of fantasy and science fiction, when it comes to narrative prose, try reading some historical fiction. If you really love long, dense picture books, try picking some wordless picture books. And if you are new to graphic novels, really dive in and see if you can find some that you enjoy. The hope is for you to really just have fun with this and learn a lot at the same time. So in these 6 weeks, there are 8 assignments in the modules. You need to do at least 5 of them, and the diversity audit is a mandatory assignment because we as a department decided that that was something you really need to learn how to do, and it fit best into this course. So that assignment, that midterm, is required. But among the other assignments, you can pick and choose which ones you want. 50 points for this section for assignments is an A. And we want to make sure that you have flexibility. You can do all of them, though, if you want, to kind of build up your points, or because you're excited about them and they're fun, or because you love that format. You're welcome to do any and all of them if you want to, but 5 is mandatory, including that midterm assignment. I already have had a couple questions about model text. For every week in your reading section, there's a list of model titles, and those books are not required reading. What they are is a list of titles that I think exemplify the format, to give you good examples of books that are representative of that week that we're talking about. And it's also a way for you to have a shortcut. If you're not familiar with that particular format, or you don't have a library at your fingertips, those are titles that you can request, and you know that they'll be really great ones to use for your assignments. Plus, they can be a good book list to use with students. It's just a starting point, and I wanted to give you that ability to start there. I did go in today and link them all to the Noble catalog, so you can even see covers, even if you don't actually read those books. You can see covers and read descriptions and get a little bit of a sense of each of those books. But you don't, for your assignments, you can pick other books that are not on those lists for when it comes to writing your annotations or which books that you're using for your assignments. Feel free to pick other titles. Again, just make sure that they've been published in this century. Okay. So this week, we're talking about picture books. I love picture books. I'm a huge picture book nerd. I was on the Caldecott committee in 2010, and it was one of the best experiences I've ever had. I'd be happy to talk to you about it anytime. There are a lot of things to think about and to consider when it comes to picture books. The biggest one is that relationship between art and text. If there is no relationship at all, or there isn't a lot of art and it's mostly text, it's not quite a picture book. And so what we want is a combination of art and text that really kind of makes the story unique and makes it successful, that the text shouldn't be able to really stand alone without the art, and the art shouldn't be able to stand alone without the text, unless, of course, it's a wordless picture book. So some of the things I want you to think about are line and expression, perspective, light. So, for example, I'm sorry about the light there. This is from Beagle. The Adventures of Beagle, An Unimaginary Friend by Dan Santant. And it's kind of hard to see, but this one I wanted to show you was about perspective, how we're seeing Beagle's perspective. See there, I'm not very good at showing pictures in front of a camera. I'm still learning that. But because it's a child's perspective, and we have this little splash of color here. So how color is used throughout the text is part of that. I mean, throughout the book is part of the success of the story. And this one, everything's dark except for Beagle, who's this bright light over here, and then this splash of color, and the little dog. So notice those details as you're going through titles. I want you to think about the medium of the illustration. How did the illustrator make the art? What types of materials did they use? So, for example, in this one, this is Voice of Freedom, Fannie Lou Hamer, by Carol Boston Weatherford, and illustrated by Equa Holmes. It's collage. It's a little hard to see here, but how, are there details within the collage that kind of speak to the story? How does the art and the line, see how the line is coming up at this angle and bringing your eyes into the image in the center? How does all of that play in together? And then there are other design details, which if you're looking at the whole book approach that I gave as the key resources for week one of the parts is reading picture books with kids is talking about the whole book and not just the text in each page, but really starting with, what's under the cover. Is it the same? What do the end papers look like? So in this one we have orange in the front and green in the back. Why do you think that is? How does that tie into the story? Does it? If you're looking in the story and you see splashes of color here, this orange here, does that tie into the design of the book, the end covers? This is actually one of my all-time favorite stories. This is A Penguin Story by Antoinette Portis. Really amazing example of use of line. So we have the curved line coming as Edna falls, and then we also have these jagged lines here, and use of color and white space. So I love this one a lot. I don't think that I have it on the model title list just because the picture book list was getting way too long. But other things to think about are use of expression. In I Want My Hat Back, the droll kind of like flat expression of the characters actually is part of the humor, and the text stands alone on its own page, which is all part of how the pictures and the text work together to be a successful picture book. This one also, use of color and how color signifies emotion. So there are lots of details about picture books to pay attention to as you're reading and as you're doing your discussion, especially with regard to the Caldecott books. So each week I'm going to do a video like this on Sunday, get it posted hopefully before Monday morning. Sometimes it's in the evening since I do have 2 kids and tend to have to do stuff with them in the evening. But I will get a video posted talking about the topic for the week, but also giving you a little bit of whole class feedback about what I'm seeing in your discussions and in your assignments, but hopefully also giving you a little bit more instruction and also just a connection to who I am as an instructor, so that it's not all just readings and text-based learning. So I hope you have fun. You can reach me through Canvas or through my Salem State email, and I look forward to this time with you.